Injuries are the worst. You wake up and it's just misery and despair and failure. Oh, and also your leg hurts. And if you're from America, like me, getting any sort of medical help is extremely expensive. What we're calling an ambulance on someone could be a threat. Give me your wallet right now. What? No, what are you gonna do? I have the ambulance on speed dial. Okay. Take it. Okay. Wait, didn't you just take all my money anyways? So this was like my first real injury, you could say. I got a huge scar across my eye. We were on the trampoline and we had several toys on it, and when our mom called us back, we had to take them all back into the house. One of the toys was this foam shield, and I don't know why I did this, but I decided to be all flashy and walk up to the edge of the trampoline and throw it down like slam dunk style. This was a grievous error. Since I was arched this way due to all the slam dunking I was doing, most of my weight was towards the ground. And I was also using force pushing me towards the ground even further, so... And that's how I got that huge scar, and I remember the next day at school, everyone was like, "Oh my god, what happened to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just fell 5 feet directly onto my face." Didn't even cry. I cried a lot. I'm surprised I didn't break my nose or lose teeth or something, because that was a pretty big fall. I mean, from my perspective, it looked like this. This next story involves my cat, specifically Luna. She used to do this thing where if you picked her up, she would crawl on your back and then kind of walk around on it. So she did that to me, but she started falling off, and instead of just jumping off, when she was falling, she dug her claws into my hip and was now dangling from it. So I had to quickly dislodge her claws from my hip and run into the bathroom and put a band-aid on it while there was blood everywhere. And now I will never let her do that again. These next two stories both involve me spraining my ankle and nobody helping me. We were playing capture the flag and I tagged my teammates out of prison, except one of them was really tall and I'm really short, so he tripped over me like I'm a piece of garbage. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground on my ankle in extreme pain, and then I saw someone coming up to me and I thought they were gonna ask if "Oh, are you okay?" They just tagged me out and then just left me to die. The show must go on, I guess. And for some reason, instead of going to the nurse or something, I just crawled back to prison. And I don't know if I got launched across the stratosphere, because it took forever to just pathetically crawl all the way back to the prison. And then when I finally get there, we immediately get tagged out and I have to crawl all the way back. Although a few years later, I would have a sprain that was even worse than this one. Yeah, me and my ankles don't seem to get along. The school was hosting this big outdoor pizza party thing, and I was on the playground and I was walking towards where the food was because I was extremely hungry. But as I was crossing, I didn't realize that someone was running light speed right towards me. I don't know if he was running from a monster or a chainsaw masochist or Satan because he owned his soul, or just a sheer need for speed. Because when we crashed, he went flying 10 feet. And he landed on his back and slid across it, and clearly he wasn't hurt because he kept going. But me, on the other hand, I got my leg slid across asphalt and gravel and got it completely destroyed. My knee was bleeding really bad, and yet again my ankle was sprained. So I got up and I could barely walk, but I tried to walk all the way to a bench before giving up and just crawling. I laid on the bench until my sister, her friend, and a teacher came over and asked me if I was okay, and then I nearly threw up, so I was clearly not okay. Then the teacher tells me to go to the nurse, and then they all just leave me to go to the nurse by myself. So I hop on my way to the nurse, and then as I sit down, she gets a phone call. She's like, "Oh, sorry, can I take this?" Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got all the time in the world. I had to go home, and she got me in one of those wheelchairs because I could not walk, and then she had the audacity to act all annoyed with me like she was the one bleeding out of her leg and with a sprained ankle. So I went home, hungry, in pain, and wanting to die more than usual. Moral of the story? Never trust anyone. Everyone's always out to get you. Never trust anyone but yourself. Well, I hope you enjoyed me suffering, and see you probably in a week and a half, maybe.